Good morning, everyone, and welcome you all on the day 5th of STTP on teaching learning pedagogies, which is approved and funded by AICTE Quality Improvement Scheme, that is AQIS New Delhi. On behalf of A.J. Patil Polytechnic Institute, Solapur, Maharashtra, I am the coordinator of this event, Mr. S.K. Mohite. Welcomes today's our speaker, Dr. Vishwajit Poddar, sir, Dr. M.S. Ogle, sir, our principal and campus director, Professor J.M. Jaketia, sir, our vice principal, all head of the departments, my colleagues, and dear participants. For today's session, we have a topic, modern pedagogical techniques. And to deliver this topic, we invited Dr. Vishwajit Poddar, sir. I feel privileged to introduce Dr. Poddar, sir. He is an eminent professor of mechanical engineering with 35 years of rich experience in teaching, research, and consultancy in the areas of automobile, marine, and aerospace engineering. He has exemplary academic achievements with university ranks and Best Research Paper Award, gold medalist of NPTEL course on soft skill. He has done commendable PhD research work related to indoor air quality improvement using experimental and numerical techniques. He has published more than 50 research papers in reputed international journals and conferences. He is consistent Best Teacher Award winner. He has conducted many faculty development programs in the field of entrepreneur, human value, personal development, employability, effective communication, modern pedagogy, and emerging technical areas. He is chartered engineer recognized by Institute of Engineers, India, and is a senior member in a professional organization like IEI India, ISTE, ASHRI, ISME, and CSI. He is associated with many social and philanthropic activities, including Art of Living Foundation. Presently, he is working as a vice principal at A.J. Patil Institute of Technology, Solapur, Maharashtra. Such an eminent personality today we are having for our session. I request Poddar, sir, to start his session. Over to you, sir.
Hello, am I audible?
Sir, please unmute yourself.
Yeah, I'm unmuted. Am I audible? I'm unmuted, sir. Just check.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're audible. Yes, sir.
Audible and visible. Oh.
Yes.
Namaste, everybody. Good morning. Let me welcome you all for this 1 week STTP on teaching learning pedagogies organized by AGPPI, Solapur, under AICTE Quality Improvement Scheme, AQIS. I am Dr. Vishwajit Poddar, Professor of Mechanical Engineering, working as Vice Principal at A.J. Patil Institute of Technology. I thank Professor Mohite for wonderful introduction given. I would like to be called myself as a teacher and a constant learner in the field of mechanical engineering. Friends, at the outset, I must thank AICTE for promoting such courses which help the teaching fraternity not only in enriching and expanding their knowledge related to emerging and disruptive technologies, but also in developing and enhancing the skills related to delivering this knowledge. It's a wonderful exercise carried out by AICTE. They support the organizations in conducting the teacher development programs. I take this opportunity to thank the organizing committee of AGPPI for giving me this wonderful opportunity of being part of this STTP. Friends, the global pandemic situation that is prevailing worldwide has disrupted our lives to a great extent. It has affected every sector, every section of society. Let it be industrial sector, small, medium, and large scale industries, those are affected. You have chemical industries, pharmaceutical industries, consumer goods industries, those are affected. The service sector is also badly affected. You take the case of transportation, logistics, IT sector, health services, hospitality industry. All these service and manufacturing sectors are badly affected. The worst affected, in my opinion, is the education sector. The schools, colleges, institutes of higher education remain closed for the past so many months. But slowly, the things are improving. We all have started accepting the situation. We are learning to adjust to this new normal lifestyle that is thrusted upon us. All the teachers, as I'm observing, have started learning new technologies required for online teaching. Up till now, this used to be a luxury. Only few people used to take up online teaching. But now everyone is learning all these new technologies, and they have started delivering their knowledge to all the students. Thereby, to some extent, educational loss of the students is reduced. In my opinion, friends, this pandemic has given us a great opportunity of self-development. We have started evaluating ourselves. It is simply because we are giving time to ourselves. We have started enriching our knowledge. We have started carrying out strength, weakness, opportunities, and threat analysis naturally because time has permitted us to do so. We are learning new technologies. One important thing that is happening to all of us is all the certification courses, which used to be a dream come true, right from Massachusetts Institute of Technology, Caltech, Stanford, Harvard, many IITs and NITs, they are offering all these certification courses. And fortunately, we are able to do all these certification courses sitting at home. So all that quality material is available to us, and we are taking benefits of all these materials. So this is biggest gain, or this great opportunity we have grabbed of improving, updating ourselves, upgrading ourselves with such certification courses. So let us all grab this opportunity to enhance our abilities and skills. So we can call this as a blessing in disguise. So we should take benefit out of it. Before I begin my formal presentation, let me wish you all a happy, healthy, and fruitful life. Stay at home, use masks, sanitizers, follow social distancing rules, follow directives given by government from time to time regarding health and safety. Let us all be optimistic. This is a temporary phase through which we are going, and we'll fight it out. And the normal life will soon resume. God bless you all. Thank you. Let us start with the presentation on modern pedagogical techniques. Modern pedagogical techniques. Now, as we all know, I am into teaching for the past more than 30 plus years. Earlier, we never used to have formal pedagogical training as such, but for the past so many years, we have started learning these pedagogical techniques. I also did a few courses offered by various premier institutes, and from those courses done, I could collect some material, and I'm sharing this material. Remember, friends, right from ancient days, this educational technology field has been evolving, right? From before Christ era to the present 2020, we have been learning, we have been updating, and our teaching skills, pedagogical skills are supported by the technological developments. Those are taking place over a period of time. This is the outline of the presentation that I'm going to share with you all. First of all, we'll see what are the challenges of this 21st century education and what way we teachers have to modify, have to change our teaching or pedagogical approach. We'll try to understand the challenging situations or the challenges faced by the teacher. Then we shall study few of the modern pedagogical techniques. I'm not going to discuss all the pedagogical techniques because of the time constraints. We'll be discussing few of these modern pedagogical techniques. One, active learning based pedagogical techniques we'll be studying. Technical content knowledge based techniques, pedagogical techniques we'll be studying. Technical pedagogy knowledge based techniques we'll be studying. Pedagogical content knowledge based, technological pedagogical content knowledge based techniques will be learning. You must be wondering what are these new terminologies we are coming across. Yes, I too was new to these things, but we have been following, only we are not knowing the specific terminologies of techniques. But when I realized that we have been following all such techniques over a period of time, not necessarily under a particular name brand as such, but we have been following. So we'll be briefly discussing these modern pedagogical techniques, and then we shall see some of the implementation issues, and I'll show you how at my own institute, A.G. Patil Institute of Technology, I have implemented some of these techniques to a great effect. So starting with challenges of 21st century education. In my opinion, friends, biggest challenge today in front of all of us is, do the students learn what the teachers teach? It's a really big question. It's a big question mark. The answer could be partially yes and largely no. The teaching profession partially has become professional, and it is slowly diminishing to be a passionate profession, so to say. And that's why there is a big gap between what we teach and what students learn. The reasons, friends, could be many. As a teacher, though we are sincerely carrying out our duties, we try to put the blame on students. They are not serious. The students blame the teachers. So this blame game continues. But the fact remains that what we teach is not reaching out to the students. What could be the possible reasons? You also jot down some of the reasons. We can discuss later on. In my opinion, some of the reasons, whatever experience I have, the type of teachers I have come across, both as a student, as a colleague, I would like to share some reasons why there is a gap between what the teachers teach and what the students learn. The major or the first barrier that I see is communication language. Fortunately or unfortunately, at least in professional institutes, we have to communicate in English. And in these engineering institutes, people from various regions are joining the profession. So a Gujarati fellow joining in a Maharashtra college, or a Maharashtra fellow joining in South Indian college, or a Bengali teacher joining a college at MP. So these migratory facts remain. So when it comes to communicating in English language, obviously there is a vernacular language impact or the mother tongue impact that is observed. While communicating in English, we see effect of accent. Typically, the South Indians have a typical accent. With due respect to all the languages and religions and culture, we are just trying to identify what are the barriers, what could be the barriers. So we say what plainly, and the South Indians, I repeatedly say, I'm not blaming anyone. We are just discussing what are the communication barriers, what and what. So there is a difference in these phonetics. Robo, baba. So these are the phonetics. You'll find different mother tongue influences. So this becomes a barrier in communicating with the students. So accent, speed of delivery of your speech or your lecture, your phonetics and pronunciations also have impact on your communicating your ideas to the students. Just to be on the lighter note, we in Maharashtra, once again, I'm not blaming anyone, just let us have fun and try to understand our difficulties as such. We try to deliver English in more Marathi way. I remember many teachers who speak in Marathi or Hindi. जब जब बरसात होती है तब तब लाइट चली जाती है. So when there is rain, then the lights will go. Nothing wrong in it. We are communicating, but the matter of the fact is that it should reach. It creates maybe an English medium student might face difficulty what this teacher is trying to say. There are so many funny instances. Although some institutes I have observed that forcibly the management asks the teachers, I don't want to name the institute, they entrust this English communication on teachers and students, because as the things are not coming from within, what happens is walking, talking, Shivaji was a great man. Bolun chalun Shivaji ek motta manas hota. Just take it as a fun. I'm not blaming anyone. So it sounds funny, fine, but the crux of the point that we are trying to make is somewhere missed. So this communication barrier is one thing, in my opinion, which hampers the communication of your ideas to the students. So this is one aspect. I would rather go forward and say, there should not be any compulsion. Whatever vernacular language you're comfortable with. And my experience says that the way we have learned right from our school days, we are accustomed with understanding the concept, maybe in our mother tongue, and there is no harm communicating, particularly the conceptual part, occasionally in your mother tongue. No problem. This is my opinion. Because what happens is, in the process of forcibly communicating in English, we find it difficult what we are trying to communicate. So that should not be the case, because in my opinion, unless and until we start thinking in English, unless and until we start analyzing in English, English as a communication language won't come automatically and fluently. And it takes time. One can practice and overcome this difficulty. So this communication language is one barrier, as I can see. Second important aspect that I have observed from the teacher's point of view is many of the teachers don't have conceptual clarity on their own. So friends, once again, I'm not criticizing anyone. We are all lifelong learners. We have to take valid points from everybody. So if, unless and until we get the concept clear to ourselves, it becomes very difficult for a teacher to communicate that concept to the students. So that conceptual clarity is of utmost importance as far as teachers are concerned. And the problem that the teachers face, once they realize that whatever I am trying to communicate, if it is not understood by the students, instead of taking it positively, we tend to become harsh and negative. Let us accept that we have not clarified the concepts ourselves, and that's why I'm not able to communicate the idea. This happens particularly in analytical subjects, the conceptual subjects. There you find communicating the concept, maybe a complicated concept to the students. So what happens is, if the concept is not clear to me as a teacher, it becomes difficult for me to simplify that concept. Because as we have seen, we in a class of 60, we have student diversity. There are slow learners, there are fast learners. There are a variety of students, strong background, weak in English, strong in English, strong in maths, weak in maths. So we have a student mix of variety of students. So what we want is we as a teacher need to cater to the needs of every sector of the class. So we need to learn this art of simplifying the things. And more than that, we teachers have the tendency of becoming monotonous. We haven't learned the art of body language usage as such, and we have not equipped ourselves with appropriate presentation styles. So this also acts as a barrier. We as teachers are not able to retain the attention of the students. And if the attention of the students, maybe anyways, you tell stories or tell some experiences that you have, whatever way you feel easier. The fact of the matter is that we should establish a connect between the students. Unless and until we establish a connection, a strong connection between the students, we will not be able to retain the attention. Let me share with you. So if the windows and doors are open, if your communication skill, your body language, your ease of delivery, if those are effective, I'm sure not a single student would look outside from the windows or doors. This is what is the experience that tells. So we need to make our teaching style interesting. Well, it takes time. As I said in the beginning, teaching is a passionate job. You should have passion for teaching. So these are the few barriers where we started. This is the biggest challenge, 21st century teacher challenge, is whatever the teacher is trying to communicate, the student is not able to understand. We have seen the teacher problems up till now. There are some problems from student side as well. The students, unfortunately, unfortunately, I'm saying they don't have a role model in front of them, or rather, we are not providing enough role model material as such. Maybe this role of society, it's a role of film industry, or social media communications, or books, government, or communication, media. The students are not able to have a set role model as far as their career is concerned. If you just make an observation, maybe some film stars like Salman Khan, Amir Khan, whatever new stars those are there. Good thing is that as far as their fit body is concerned, they have become their role models. As far as, yes, let us see the positive side of it. They are becoming fitter and fitter, and physically they are becoming stronger. But as far as their engineering goals are concerned, or life goals are concerned, or career goals are concerned, people like Sam Pitroda, people like Abdul Kalam, people like Vishwesvaraya, many idols are there in the field of engineering and technology and professional courses. There's so many, C.N.R. Rao, many scientists are there. They can become their role models. So this lack of role model and lack of set goals for the present generation youth is a biggest hurdle in this teaching learning process. And because they don't have a role model, unless and until they have set goals, they'll not focus on the studies. So this is the biggest barrier. And because they don't have goals, they lack motivation in learning. And many a times, the students, we hear students saying that what am I going to do after completing my education? So they are not optimistic. They get depressed so fast. They don't focus on developing abilities. They immediately, once I pass the exam, they feel that what opportunities they have. And as they don't have those employability skills, those entrepreneurial skills, because they are not developed, they are not developing themselves in that fashion, what happens is somehow they lose faith in the educational system. And I think, this is my personal opinion, I feel this also becomes a barrier. That's why the students don't focus in the lecture. So we as teachers has a big task. We must spend at least 5 minutes every lecture to motivate the students, tell them about the opportunities they have. Don't tell them only about recession, because after every recession, there is always a bundle of opportunities those are coming up. I have seen minimum four recession and such epidemic situations. After such calamitous situations, the industry surges, the opportunities going. All these things, we as teachers, we need to tell the students, we need to spend time, we need to become mentors, so that this barrier in our teaching learning process can be reduced to some extent. When we learned, we had hardly had many distractions. Only going to movie used to be a biggest passion that we used to have. But today, at the fingertip, they have mobile phones, videos, movies, net, so all the social media. So this is one more barrier I see on the part of students, why they're not able to focus in a class. And you must have observed the attention time of the students in a class is very low. They can listen continuously to any particular audio clip or video clip, particularly if it is a conceptual part, not more than 5 to 10 minutes. I don't know what is happening to the present audience. I hope all teachers are listening to me, because we as teachers don't have much practice of listening to somebody. We have the habit of delivering something to others. So what is the end effect of these challenges? Why there is this gap in the teaching and learning process? What NASSCOM says is 80% of the graduates are unemployable. So this gap between what is taught and what is learned needs to be reduced. There was a nice movie that we all have seen, Three Idiots. Wonderful movie, every teacher should see and show it to the teachers. Three Idiots, wonderful movie. I have seen it many times, and the story is, I don't know, probably Chetan Bhagat has written the story, and the hero, Sonam Wangchuk, his videos are also available. He talks nicely about the education system, how it should be, how experiential learning should be promoted. So friends, whatever we have discussed about the gap between this teaching and learning exercise, the solution to this is we as teachers, as we have not formally trained ourselves to these finer aspects of teaching learning process. What happens in most of the professional educational institutes after graduation, post-graduation, after your courses, maybe some students have some industrial exposure and they jump into teaching. We don't have that formal training, pedagogical training, and that's why unlike your B.Ed, D.Ed courses, they have to, during the course of their curriculum itself, they have to learn many pedagogical aspects. So we as professional teachers, I feel we have to learn the art of teaching. That is nothing but pedagogy. So let us move further. Let us understand, all of us know, but let us quickly review what is this pedagogy. Now, pedagogy is the science and art of teaching. Why science? So there is a logical correlation between what we do and what happens. So that's why it is scientific. It is logical, isn't it? And it is art of teaching. So both science and art of teaching. So it's an art. We need to groom, we need to develop that art of teaching. Pedagogy can also be defined as method and practice of teaching. What to teach is called as teaching. What to teach. So we're focusing on content part of it. What to teach is teaching, and how to teach is pedagogy. The interactions between teachers, students, and the learning environment. This is very important and useful definition. Pedagogy is the study of interactions between teachers, students, and learning environment and contents, so that the desired goal of communicating knowledge is fulfilled. Now, even though this word pedagogy is used, if we go by the meaning of the word, this pedagogy is the word that is used for school education or school children. For adults, for andragogy is the more appropriate word. But we use pedagogy as a synonymous word for andragogy. This is the definition part of what is pedagogy. Let us see what is the significance of pedagogy. Pedagogy improves the quality of teaching. Pedagogy also helps the teachers to achieve deeper learning by their students. Pedagogy helps teachers to develop and utilize suitable strategies as per student needs, their interests and background. This is very important. Pedagogy helps the teachers to develop and utilize suitable strategies. So as a teacher, up till now, what we used to do is prepare the content, see what weightage it has got in the examination and what type of questions those are asked, and go and deliver the lecture. Now, once we start learning the pedagogical techniques, we need to bring about this change. We need to develop and utilize suitable strategies. We need to analyze what type of student variety I have, what is the student diversity, how many weak students are there, how many strong students are there, how many slow learners are there, how many fast learners are there, and accordingly, depending upon the learning style of the students, what are the interests of the students, we need to orient. So pedagogy or pedagogical techniques help us in developing suitable strategies so that it becomes palatable, it becomes digestible, and whatever problems we identified, those will be reduced. Your lectures would become interesting, and your engagement with the students would improve. Now, once this teaching learning process becomes effective, the teacher succeeds in establishing a bond between the teacher and the student. So, the pedagogical studies help us in systematically identifying and solving problems associated with the teaching learning process. Now, let's see what are the pedagogical challenges of. Now, we talked about 21st century educational challenges. Even after knowing pedagogy, there are few pedagogical challenges also. So these pedagogical techniques are also constantly evolving, right from late 60s till now, right from Bloom's taxonomy, there are revisions those are taking place in the pedagogical techniques. So there are few pedagogical challenges we need to identify in this 21st century education. Let us try to analyze these challenges systematically. Now, in a typical classroom, student, teacher, and the contents that are written on the blackboard, these are important interacting elements. Try to visualize a classroom environment. You as a teacher, you are there in a classroom, you are on a podium, at a podium or near a blackboard, and your students are sitting in front, and you have the content written on the board. So these are the three important ingredients which are constantly interacting with each other. The student interacting with the board and the teacher interacting with the students using the contents. So these are the close links we find in a typical classroom. Now let us systematically try and identify the challenges, the pedagogical challenges faced by each of the elements. What are the pedagogical challenges on student front? What are the pedagogical teacher front? And what are the pedagogical challenges on the content front? Initially, when we discussed about some of the problems, we just randomly analyzed those problems. Through our experiences, whatever we have faced problems, we tried to enumerate. Now, when we start learning modern pedagogical techniques, we'll try to look at these challenges of the 21st century education from a pedagogical perspective. in a systematic way, let us try to analyze the problems, identify those challenges, and let us try to come out with appropriate solutions. Please be relaxed. We will go slowly and systematically. I'll try to make it a bit interesting, though it is involving lot many theoretical concepts, new concepts. I'll try to make it interesting. So, first, the challenges on the student front. Now, these are the challenges as far as student as the element are concerned. We find it very difficult to maintain student engagement. Students very easily lose focus in a classroom environment. And particularly in a 1 hour lecture, as a teacher, you all will agree, you have to spend at least 5 to 10 minutes in bringing the attention of the students to our lecture, to the board, to us. So students, it's a challenge that we have of engaging the students to your lecture. As we discussed earlier, students lack motivation. So as a teacher, this is a big challenge that we have. We have to convince our students about the importance of learning. We need to provide them, rather we, through our deeds and achievements, we should try to become their role models. In many colleges I have seen, if good teachers are there, and many students treat those teachers as their role models. So as a teacher, we have to see to this problem of lack of role models the students have. And we as teachers, through our day-to-day interactions, maybe our dressing sense, our presentation sense, our neatness, our involvement in sports, we should try to become role models for the students so that their motivation can be improved. Rather, these are the challenges we as teachers need to address these challenges. Now we need the third challenge from the student front is the learning styles and approaches. As we saw earlier, different students have different learning styles. So what are these learning styles? Probably you had a full-fledged lecture from an IT teacher a few days back. I'll try to identify this learning styles. Some students you must have observed understand your lecture if you put it on the board, if you put it in a visualization mode, if you put it on a board in the form of a graphic or a picture. So some students find it easier to understand when it is pictorially represented. Some students are good at auditory responses. Some students don't need your visualization or picturization, use of videos. Some students, it's enough for them to have auditory lecture. Even the audio lecture, they can focus quickly and they can understand what are the concepts. So these are the different learning style. Now, there is one more style which is participative kineto-aesthetic learning style. You must have learned these things in details. So wherein some students like, instead of listening to somebody, observing the video, or students find it easier to have activity-based, participative type of learning exercise. So these are different learning styles. After learning the concepts of pedagogy, principles of pedagogy, we should try to understand what are the learning styles of the students, and accordingly we'll be able to modify our lectures to suit whether I should go in for some video clipping, whether I should go in for some practical exercise, activity-based exercise accordingly. So this is a challenge we need to face. And we should also focus on the student diversity. We should identify the class we need to divide into slow learners, fast learners, analytical thinkers. Okay, so accordingly, we need to classify a class of 40 or 60, and accordingly, we need to address these challenges. So these are the challenges on student front. Let us go to the challenges related to content. Now in this today's information era, friends, we find it very difficult to prepare our content. I remember many a times we used to preserve our lectures for many years. Notes, we used to use those notes. But now the things have changed. For the past 8-10 years, every year I prepare new notes because those notes are needed to be updated every time. And the content has to be interesting also. So this is also one more challenge we as teachers have to address while preparing the content. We need to prepare an interesting content. While preparing learning resources and notes, we need to take care that these are up to date. Because with the technology growth, literally every information, every resource is available at the click of a mouse. So to make your learning material distinct, we as teachers have to put in efforts and try to make our resources up to date. And we need to make our content very interesting. And we need to make our content interactive as well. So this content, maybe some quiz elements we should add in our content, a question and answer type of content addition we can have, so that we can use this content interactively. And this is, of course, a big challenge as far as content preparation is concerned. Remember, we are identifying the pedagogical challenges faced by a teacher, which are student-related, content-related, and which are related to teacher as such. Now, what are the challenges as far as teachers are concerned? Now, up till now, in conventional teaching learning practices, even today, many institutes, we have teacher-centric learning. They have such a command and force that they enforce this lecture by making stringent rules. You should attend the lecture. So even today, we have teacher-centric teaching only. But if we have to follow pedagogical concepts, pedagogical techniques, and if we want to make our teaching learning process a teaching student-centric, we have to shift from passive, one-sided teaching practices to active, participative type of teaching learning practices. And for this, I remember one analogy, because we have to change, we have to make these changes, because we have to resort to what the market demands, what the customer demands. It reminds me of the market situation that we have today, which is a similar situation. Maybe 15, 20 years back the track, if you see at the market, let us take the case of an automobile. I remember waiting for getting a Bajaj scooter for 6 months to 1 year. So, and even getting a Maruti, first Maruti 800 used to take 1 to 2 years of waiting period used to be there. So that time the market was seller's market. Now, if you see for the past 5-10 years, it has become buyer's market now. Now, the customers have, the buyers have so many choices, variety of models. They need not wait. On the contrary, the sellers have to offer them schemes and make them buy their product. If we just a similarity I recollected. So even in this teaching, learning exercise, we have to be student-centric. Not necessarily, these are not our customers, but the students also have choices, whether to listen to me as a teacher, or whether to go in for a video lecture, whether to go in for an online class. They have so many options. And of late, we have lectures available from expert teachers on YouTube, Facebook, on all the social media, NPTEL. So as a teacher, we have to change our approach from teacher-centric to student-centric. This important aspect, we have to inculcate knowledge, skills, and attitude amongst the students. As I said initially, we need to have that bond, that connect. So we start thinking about our students as our child. So that compassionate feeling, if that comes, these things will automatically happen. So it's a big challenge for a teacher to have inculcation of knowledge, skills, and attitude, and following a set of pedagogical techniques. And we have to ourselves, we have to be lifelong learners. We need to make our students also lifelong learners. So we need to spare some time. We did not resort only to rote teaching practices, your exam point of view, and this is how the problem is to be solved. We have to come out of it. Well, I'm also learning. I'm not advising you. We need to make these changes, transformation we need to bring about in our teaching learning process. So we need to be lifelong learners ourselves. At the same time, we have to make the students realize the fact that unlearn, relearn, and relearn. Okay, so these are the new buzzwords. We have to keep on learning new techniques. These new techniques will become obsolete tomorrow. Unlearn those and relearn. So this lifelong learning process will continue. So we as teachers have to be lifelong learners, as well as we have to inculcate this lifelong learning habits amongst our students. And as a teacher, we are accustomed, or we are bound by this assessment and evaluation practices. Of course, unfortunately, we don't have the flexibility as far as assessment and evaluations are there. But those teachers who are working in autonomous environment, those who have should change, should modify the evaluation and assessment criteria. Many institutes are following, but the affiliated institutes have some restrictions. And let me tell you, our institute is affiliated to Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Technological University, the State Technical University. They are also now making changes in evaluation and assessment criteria. The rote evaluation criteria or memory-based evaluation criteria, they're reducing now. So we have a 40-60. So 40 marks worth evaluation is done at the institute level, and 60 marks evaluation is done at the university level. So these challenges are to be met by the teachers so that we can have effective teaching, learning, exercise. So these are the few challenges of the interacting elements. Students, teachers, and content-related issues. We as teachers have to identify and we have to overcome these challenges to make our teaching learning exercise more effective and more useful. Now we have this additional burden also, friends. We particularly in professional institutes, nowadays your admissions and preference of the students is dependent on how many students are placed in your organization. They don't bother much about what is the quality of the teachers, what is the laboratory facilities, what are the various infrastructural details, how are the teachers. Many students and parents look for how many placements your institutes give. This is the additional challenge that we as teachers have. So the expectations of the employers in the 21st century that they want their students or their recruitees to have team working abilities. They should have leadership qualities. So we as teachers, apart from imparting technical knowledge, we need to impart these soft skills as well to the students. We need to build interpersonal skills. They want their students, they want their trainees to have negotiation skills. They should have persuasion skills. They should have decision-making skills. They should be able to handle conflicts in conflicting situations. So these are the employer expectations in the 21st century. They don't want to waste their time, spend their time in recruiting first and training those trainees later on. They want ready-made employees or engineers or trainees who have these skills. They want the trainee should have, or the student should have sharing and caring abilities so that they will fit into their organizational framework quickly. The employers expect the students to have good communication skills. They want the students to have, or the trainees to have, critical thinking abilities. They want their trainees to have creativity. See, these are the expectations of the employers who are employing these professional graduates. So, friends, we have a big challenge in front of us. Apart from our teaching, learning, pedagogy, we need to inculcate these soft skills also amongst the students. And as we proceed, as we learn few of the modern pedagogical techniques, we'll be just having an overview of these pedagogical techniques. Surprisingly, you'll come to know that we need not give spatial focus to whatever skills those are identified. My observation is that if we follow these new pedagogical techniques, which is more of a active learning based pedagogical approach, indirectly, all these skills through these modern pedagogical techniques are unknowingly developed among the students. So these expectations of employers also will be fulfilled once we start implementing these modern pedagogical techniques. So these challenges of 21st century education can be overcome by transforming our teaching learning process by using modern pedagogical techniques. So the challenges posed by the employees, the challenges posed by the students, the challenges posed by the society. So all these can be met by shifting from teacher-centric practices to student-centric practices, by treating teaching, learning as a process, not teaching as a one-way exercise or learning as a one-way exercise. We should focus on the participative learning concepts, which can be learned through these modern pedagogical techniques. We have discussed, we'll quickly browse through techniques. We have already identified the teacher. He has to look at various aspects of teaching learning process. In today's era, present day, we going for NBE or NAAC, now outcome-based education has become a benchmark now. So learning is no exception to this. So if we look at the learning pyramid, whatever conventional teaching we used to do, what is the retention rate? As can be seen, by lecturing, it is very low. By reading, 10% retention. Audio visual, 20% retention. Demonstration, 30% retention. But see the bottom half of the pyramid. By discussion, the retention rate of the students is 50%. That's what this study says. By practicing, experiential learning, 75% retention rate. And after knowing, understanding, teaching others, the retention rate is 90%. So while selecting our modern pedagogical techniques, while designing modern pedagogical techniques, so to improve, to make our teaching learning process more effective, to have good learning outcomes, we have to look for discussion-based, practice-oriented pedagogical techniques, isn't it? So if you going to see the Bloom's taxonomy, our pedagogical techniques should cater to the needs of the learning outcomes, which strengthen lower order thinking skills as well as higher order thinking skills. So this is the requirement. So that's why there is a need for modern pedagogical techniques. Now let us try to systematically analyze and let us select what are the pedagogies we need to select. If we want to shift from traditional passive pedagogy or traditional passive type of teaching learning process to active learning process, we need to include in our lectures group discussion part, collaborative learning part, peer learning part in our day-to-day practices. If we want to cater to the needs of variety of learning styles, we should include video clips, we should include podcasting, we should include discussions, we should include some activities in our regular conventional teaching, traditional teaching practices, so that we can shift to the modified teaching practices, the teaching learning practices. To cater to the needs of student diversity, we need to make our content self-paced. We need to make our content available online so that the students can leisurely sit back and listen to your lectures number of times. So at their own place, repeatedly they can learn and they can digest the concept. We should focus on cooperative learning. And so all these, now we have to improve the student focus. We have to motivate them. How to improve the focus? By asking questions, by having quizzes, having group activities, we can improve the student attention and focus. Now, classically, there are different pedagogical approaches. We just browse through these pedagogical approaches. We will not get into details. Behavioral pedagogy focuses on behavioral modification. If you want to modify the behavioral aspects of the participant or the student, we have to look for behavioral pedagogy. While processing and transmission of information is my requirement, then I should go in for cognitive pedagogy. While hands-on self-directed activities activities, if these are used, these are called as constructivist pedagogy. Activity-based pedagogy gives us framework of activities. Experience as a foundation for learning is the basis for experiential pedagogy. For developing interpersonal relationships, we need to utilize socially situated learning practices. And for organization learning, we should utilize system learning pedagogy. So these are the approaches. We are not getting into details of these pedagogical techniques. Let us look at our conventional pedagogical techniques. We use lectures as our pedagogy, classical lecture delivery in the classroom. We make use of chalk and talk. So student learning is through hearing. It is passive type of learning practice. Sometimes we use demonstrations, or we demonstrate. We make use of models and chart. The students see and hear. Still, students are learning in a passive learning mode. Teachers are presenting through LCD and multimedia. So seeing and hearing is the aspect. So still it is a passive learning approach. We make use of animations in our pedagogy. Medium used is LCD and multimedia. Still we are in the passive mode. Even if we make use of videos, we are still in the passive mode. So all these conventional pedagogies provide us passive learning practices. Now, if we want to learn, if we want to make transition from passive learning pedagogies to active learning pedagogies, we have to make use of these modern pedagogical techniques. The first one that we are going to discuss is active learning based pedagogical techniques. Whatever we use presently is a conventional passive learning type. Now, as we can see, we as a teacher are expert in content. So we know how to develop useful content. That is, we are trained for that. But if we can add the pedagogical knowledge to this content, it becomes a pedagogical content knowledge based technique. It is called as PCK, or pedagogical content knowledge based technique. So what are these active learning based pedagogical techniques? First is collaborative learning. Second is cooperative learning. Third one is group discussion. Fourth one is case studies based or role plays type active learning. Inquiry based learning, project based learning, problem based learning. We'll quickly browse through because we have to cover many more topics. We'll quickly browse through each of the techniques fast. Now in collaborative learning, it is an educational approach to teaching and learning that involves groups of students working together to solve a problem, to complete a task, or create a product. Now, each methodology will consume time, as we are not having enough time. We can just enumerate. Stump your partner. Two students are sitting side by side, and you pose a question to a partner, and so in a sense, you collaborate with your partner and you enhance your learning abilities. Similarly, write, pair and share, catch up, think, pair and share, round table, fishbowl type of debate is one type of collaborative learning wherein your sitting position is like a fishbowl. Two students are sitting side by side. You know the debaters, one is speaking for and one is speaking against. And in between, the referee is sitting. Looks like a fish bowl, so it's called as a fish bowl type of a debate. It's a sort of collaborative learning. All these techniques enhance or overcome the problems faced by the slow learners, because when they're collaborating, a slow learner is sitting with the fast learner. So he can utilize the knowledge and the expertise of a fast learner, and collaboratively, the slow learner also catches up with the fast learner. So like that, we have cooperative learning. That is also one active learning-based pedagogical technique. It is a successful teaching strategy in which small teams, each with students of different levels of ability, use a variety of learning activities to improve their understanding of a subject. Number of cooperative learning techniques they have created. Well, these are from the courses that I did earlier. There are many more. Or you can develop your own cooperative learning strategies also. Jigsaw is one such cooperative learning strategy. Here the students are divided into groups of 5. Each student will get a subtopic and he will teach that subtopic to others in a group. So each one learns cooperatively. So it's a group task-based jigsaw. STAD is one more technique. Students or student teams achievement division, student teams achievement division, that is STAD. So small teams are formed, and accordingly they are once again given a task, and that task is subdivided into subtasks, and a sort of quiz is arranged in the classroom thereafter, and the prizes, it's a competition that is maintained. So here also the knowledge exchange takes place in groups, in small teams first, amongst each members of the teams, and then between groups, and thereafter in the entire class. So team, pair, solo, group investigation, round robin. A round robin is once again, you are sitting on a table, and then turn by turn, whatever topic that is given to you, you have to throw some light on the subtopic that is given to you. And other members would contrast and challenge whatever you are trying to justify. So this is one wonderful active learning-based pedagogical technique called as cooperative learning. Now the third one is the inquiry-based learning. Remember, we have been using these practices not with this specific name as such, but we are using, these are categorized under modern pedagogical techniques. Now what we do here, once again, it's a group task. We carry out inquiry. That means we go into the deep roots of the problem. So we orient ourselves with the problem first of all. Then we have exploration. We identify the problem question. Then we explore for the solutions. Now these solutions are discussed amongst the groups exhaustively, and then finally the solution is presented. So it's a closed loop type of an inquiry-based learning, which is active learning based, because the participation from each participant is important. Each one works on the problem. He identifies certain aspects of the problem. The other one identifies some other aspect. Then they mutually sit tight and work out for the problem areas, and then they suitably explore. They carry out experimentations if they require. They go to the library. They carry out further research and then come out with a solution, and then they present the solution to the entire class. So here, the teacher's participation is minimum. The teacher plays a role of a facilitator, so to say. So the student on their own comes forward and carries out this inquiry-based learning. So this is one of the active learning-based pedagogical technique. Now this next one is very important as far as the teachers from professional colleges, technical colleges are concerned. Project-based learning is a very, very effective active learning-based pedagogical technique. It is learn by doing or experiential learning. The subjects with real-life problems can be solved by learning by doing. Students work in teams to create a final product then demonstrate their mastery. They carry out the critical thinking, they collaborate, they communicate. Now, I remember we utilize this project-based learning. I particularly carried out this project-based learning exercise for my subject, experimental stress analysis. Just as an example case, I'm telling you, my subject that ESA, experimental stress analysis, involves studies related to strain gauge technique. So what I did was, after teaching the initial basic concept, the conceptual part, I made few groups in my class and asked them to apply the concept of this strain gauge force transducer to various applications. I asked them to storm their brains. So they identified 2 problem areas on their own. One was a torque wrench. If you're a mechanical engineer, you must be aware. Now in today's aluminum alloy engines, we have the tightening torque that is limited. You cannot apply the tightening torque as per your wish. There are certain limits. So if I measure that tightening torque, I need a range spanner, so to say, which is able to provide me the torque value, which can give me a readout of the torque value. So that torque wrench, strain gauge based torque wrench, they prepared as a project work. They went to workshop, they worked with electronic students, they went to market, identified the specimen material, identified the spanner, and then they learned the mounting techniques. They researched on the signal conditioning problems, and then came out with the digital readout and recording devices. And similar exercise related to the same subject that they did was they developed a lathe tool dynamometer. So likewise, by using the basic concepts and by using these project-based learning exercises, and it gave me very nice results, let me tell you, because they become confident. The students, once there is clarity of concept, once they have this hands-on experience, they become more confident. So as a teacher, I would request all the teachers to take up project-based learning as the active learning-based pedagogical technology without fail, because it will give you wonderful results in your teaching learning experience. The next active learning-based pedagogical technique is problem-based learning. You as a teacher provide, form some groups, allocate some facilitator, maybe teacher facilitator or lab assistant facilitator or a senior facilitator. Help them in identification of a problem, give them some problems, maybe a case study you can give, or if you're a technical teacher, we can identify, maybe because I'm an instrumentation teacher, maybe I can give a problem related with measurement of airflow or airflow measurement inside a carburetor. So likewise, I can identify a problem which may be practical nature, which can be analytical in nature. You can formulate an analytical problem and then ask them to solve it in a group fashion, by using discussion forum, by using peer teaching. What is this peer teaching? The student, the knowledgeable student sharing his knowledge and helping out maybe a weak student. So this is a peer teaching, maybe a senior teaching to a junior. This is what is happening over a period of time, but this should be made more effective. So thereafter, they carry out a self-study. Now the relevant learning factors are to be identified. RLF is the relevant learning factors are to be identified for the problem by a teacher. And then the teacher has to just evaluate whether those learning factors, learning outcomes are met through this problem-based learning exercise or not. So resource sharing takes place. The students come out with a variety of solutions. They present the solutions, and then the teacher then evaluates and then upgrades the solution. Here also, the teacher's role is that of a facilitator. So this is very important. It's project-based learning and active and problem-based learning. This is very popular amongst technical and professional teaching institutes. This should be invariably used by the teachers to make your teaching learning experience more enriching. Let us quickly go to the remaining modern pedagogical techniques. Now, technological content knowledge based. As we already have the content knowledge, we should use the ICT tools or technology that is available. Probably I'll not go into details because probably yesterday only you had by Dr. Pal, who told you about how to prepare videos. You had a session by Mr. Anish Sahasrabudhe on online teaching. So we know many ICT tools. So we'll just quickly browse through what are these technology content knowledge-based pedagogical techniques. So these are the ICT-based pedagogical techniques. We make use of interactive smart boards. Your interactive smart boards. We make use of presentations on LCD. We make use of Google Slides, Google Sheets, Google Forms. We can make use of various search engines for having technological content knowledge. I can develop my own pedagogical techniques by taking help from all these information and communication technology-based tools. I make use of podcasting, voice threads. I prepare my own blog. I make use of YouTube facility, and I make my teaching more effective. This is called as technological content knowledge-based pedagogical technique. So content knowledge, we have the enriched content plus the ICT tools. Now, further, in addition to the earlier ones that we have seen, I can create my own animations. This is also ICT tool. I can create videos and make use of these videos along with my content to make my teaching learning experience more enriching. I make use of CMS, content management systems, Moodle, or I can make maybe WordPress. I can make use of Drupal. I can make use of this Moodle learning management system to make my teaching learning experience more resourceful and fulfilling. So this is technological content knowledge-based pedagogical techniques. We have to move a bit faster because podcasting is one technique. We are going to make use of only audio aspect of my lecture. This podcasting, you'll find many podcasts available on various social media. So I can upload the podcast, or as a teacher, if good podcast lecture is available, audio file available, I can share that audio file and make my technological content knowledge-based pedagogical technique more effective. I can make use of blogs. This is one more technological content TCK-based pedagogical technique. And this blogging, and this I make it available to the students, to the stakeholders. I can create my own animations, videos, various animation tools. You must have a full session on that. Screencast-O-Matic, I can create videos, Camtasia, CamStudio, Video Scribe, video editing tools. You have Format Factory, you have Blender, Filmora, Windows Movie Maker. We are moving quickly because we already done these things. Now we can make use of content management system software to have my TCK-based pedagogical technique in place. I make use of WordPress and Drupal. I can, next modern pedagogical technique category is technological pedagogy knowledge-based pedagogical technique. So along with ICT-based tools, I make use of the pedagogy principles to improve the effectiveness of my teaching learning experience. So here in particular, I make use of technology, because technology I am going to make use of, and pedagogy also I am going to make use of. So in TPK-based system, I make use of student response system. So what I do here, just to check whether the students are understanding, to evaluate the student understanding, I make use of small quizzes in between. Here also you have mobile-based applications readily available for evaluating the student performance, and I can make it that evaluation more useful also. I can make use of Mentimeter, and I can make use of maybe clickers, flickers. Then gamification is one more TPK-based modern pedagogical technique which can be used. I can make use of Kahoot. I can show you video if time permits. I can have discussion forums for making my pedagogy more effective. And the last one that is very important is technological pedagogical content knowledge-based pedagogical techniques. It is called as TPAC. So the intersection sets, as you see, we are seeing technology and pedagogy. So technology and content, technology and content, technology and pedagogy, and the intersection of all these three: technological, pedagogical, content, knowledge-based. So TPAC-based pedagogical techniques. We as teachers should use this active learning-based, TPAC-based pedagogical techniques to the maximum possible extent. So what are let us see a few of these technological, pedagogical, content, knowledge-based pedagogical techniques. TPAC-based pedagogical techniques. So to make our teaching learning experience more enriching, TPAC-based pedagogical techniques we should make use of. So we should make use of learning management system. MOOCs are such example. Massive open online courses developed through learning management system. You have blended pedagogical techniques. So blended, probably you have a session tomorrow, a wonderful session tomorrow by Professor Revankar from Yashada. So you have a full session on blended pedagogical technique. Here briefly I can discuss, it's a blending of online teaching and your face-to-face teaching. So there are various methods. Now flipped classroom, instead of delivering the lecture in the classroom and then the students will go home and solve the assignment based on the lectures that you've given. The concept says that you do the flipping. So the lectures are available online to the students beforehand, before he comes to the class. So today night, he goes through the lectures delivered by you, and tomorrow he interacts with you in the class. So in the classroom, there is much of an interaction. Instead of listening, all the learning part is done beforehand. So this is flipping of classroom. This reminds me of a virtual classroom also. Whatever we are doing right now is a virtual classroom. Online teaching exercises we have. It reminds me of Ekalavya. He had this virtual learning experience. So all our ancient scriptures, or they tell us ancient practices, they must be following all these pedagogical techniques. We have this ashram system, we have this Gurukul system, all these techniques. Sometimes I feel we should think on those lines also. We should do research on those ancient practices as well, because I find much more similarity. Ekalavya was not able to see Dronacharya directly, or virtually he used to learn, and he became an expert in archery. So these are few of the TPAC-based pedagogical techniques. What we can do through this LMS is that you can disseminate your lectures through videos. You can track student progress. You can create tests, and you can provide discussion forums. You can manage all the lecture records, test records, performance records. So Moodle is one such learning management system. Blended learning, just now I told, there are variety of methods. La carte method is also there, flipped classroom is, all these things will be done. Plainly speaking, it is a blending of online teaching experience and face-to-face teaching experience. So it makes the teaching more interesting and more enriching. Now the student response system, this is called as technology pedagogy based learning exercise. Student response system allows instructors to pose questions in the classroom in an interesting way. There are many mobile tools available like Mentimeter. You can visit mentimeter.com, and the students are on the screen. You have the post question, and through your mobile app, you'll be given some ID or a password, and through that you have to just give the answers. And those answers can be evaluated by the teacher. This data can be analyzed, correct answers or the frequency of correct answers. Like that, we have clickers and vote pads, so that instead of making it your teaching learning process monotonous, we can interrupt the class in between, and you can have your review system, student response system in place. And then you can make use of some gamification software. You can see I have those small videos, but because we don't have that much time, Kahoot, you can see it's a very interesting gamification, games video that is available. This gamification softwares, many gamification softwares are available to us. The technology pedagogical based learning pedagogy is making use of discussion forums. So online forums can be used for helping students to review the material prior to an exam. So we can have these discussion forums beforehand. In fact, we are using these discussion forums on merits, engaging students in discussion of course material before coming to class. This thing was not happening. Whatever knowledge the teacher used to have, he used to deliver it only after he used to share that information, so to say, or knowledge in the classroom, and then student used to analyze, understand, digest, and analyze, and then identify or solve the problems related to the concepts that those were taught. Now, in the modern pedagogical practices, we have to go a bit ahead. We have to provide this course material beforehand. The lectures can be made available. Maybe you can prepare a Google Classroom, make these lectures available to the students beforehand, and next time when they come to the class, you carry out discussion. And you can reflect upon material. Both ways, it will be enriching. It will be enriching, fulfilling experience for teachers as well. The student also, consolidation of their knowledge will take place. Now let us come to the implementation part. These are the few pictures. We are coming close to now the closure of our session. These are the few photographs of the modern pedagogical techniques I implemented in my institute, that is A.G. Patil Institute of Technology, making use of Mentimeter for student response system. I made use of online quizzes as well. These group exercises I carried out, wherein the problem was given and the subtopics were given, and the students were asked to discuss among themselves. So my role, or the teacher's role, was just of a facilitator. I was indirectly evaluating the performance. These groups presented their ideas on their own, and then they presented their ideas to the entire class. So some clickers. So instead of the answers, we can make use of image grabbing clickers. Each clicker is a typical graphic which corresponds to the options A, B, C, D of our multiple choice questions. And I just have to just scan through all the classroom, the entire classroom, and I can pick up how many are the correct answers. This makes the teaching learning experience more interesting. Yes. So let us come to the concluding part of my session. I know it is very difficult to sit tight for 1.5 to 2 hours. But yes, as a teacher, I would like to share some views. We, as a teacher, even though, let me frankly tell you, being in this teaching profession for the last 30 years, I was very rigid about not making use of digital tools earlier. For the past 10 years, I have changed myself. I'm making use of all these ICT technology-based tools. I'm making use of discussion forums. I'm making use of these new pedagogical techniques to make my teaching learning experience more enriching. I was a staunch supporter of face-to-face teaching, but now I have changed my approach towards this teaching learning practice, and I'm getting the results also. The participative, active learning based approach provides you wonderful results. So I advise, I would suggest all the teachers to learn various pedagogical techniques scientifically and make use of these techniques. Implement various active learning strategies in the classroom to achieve the learning outcomes. Then evaluate. After implementation, we have to evaluate whatever new learning strategies, active learning strategies we have implemented, whether those are effective or not. So this completes the cycle of your implementation strategy. So we can have a separate lecture on effective teaching, but I would suggest, I would rather request all the teachers, because what we observe is that we are so stereotyped as far as conduct of lectures is concerned. We hardly prepare for the lecture, and then we have those PPTs and materials notes, and without giving much time for lecture preparation, we go and deliver. So that makes our teaching monotonous and less engaging. So what I suggest every teacher, remember, though teaching is a profession, friends, it's a noble profession, because our efforts are going to help the next generation. So as a teacher, I would suggest, request all the teachers to spend some time before going in for the lecture. Spend at least 1 to 2 hours. What I'm going to discuss in the class today. What are the tools I need to use? Whether I need to make use of the videos so that the concept will be clear. Whether I need to have some activity so that the concept will be clear. Whether I need to show some animations so that the concept is clear. This part should go before I go in for the class. So for every lecture, you should treat it on its own merit. So each lecture, you should make it enjoyable so that your teaching and exercise becomes enriching and fulfilling. Then time must be given for this active learning strategies. Now that on net also you have got wonderful material available. IIT Mumbai has provided, they have educational technology department. They constantly conduct these pedagogical courses. Even on NPTEL, you have modern pedagogical technique courses. You can take up those courses or go browse through the courses, take up the course, understand various strategies, because these things are new to teachers, particularly for technical teachers. But these are useful pedagogical techniques. So we should give time for this active learning, these active learning strategies. And then we need to slowly implement these active learning strategies in your class, and then evaluate your new active learning strategies by asking quizzes, by conducting quizzes, using some games, using some assignments. So before I close, as a teacher, I would like to say a few things. Let's contribute something as a teaching fraternity. As I said, even after putting in so many years of service, I believe to be a continuous learner. Last year only, I took up these courses based on modern pedagogy. And whenever time permits, I love to be a continuous learner. So and this we have to percolate it to the students as well, because the biggest tribute to a teacher is the outcome, not in terms of exam results, but a civilized society. I feel blessed when I meet my alumni, those who are working in various industries, those who have become entrepreneurs, those who have become teachers, wonderful teachers. Now they have become renowned teachers. So that in itself is a fulfilling, enriching experience for a teacher. So let us come together to make this transformation of teaching learning process a revolution, friends, because this inertia we have to shrug off now. We have to take up these new pedagogical techniques. Let us take this revolution further to enlighten the teaching fraternity and shape the future of coming generations. I think I have spoken enough. Hope I have done some justice to the topic of modern pedagogical techniques.